Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scribo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Wednesday, July 13th, and the moon is full in Capricorn. The full moon happens around 2:53 today, something like that. It is a full moon with the moon in Capricorn, the sun in Cancer. Pluto, the planet of transformation, is within orb of a conjunction to the moon. So this can be an expression of power over the people or power of the people in an opposition to the sun in Cancer. The sun in Cancer is also conjunct Ceres. Ceres is a asteroid associated with food, with grain, with but also with grief and mourning. There's the symbol for Ceres is a sickle, and just like one of those old-fashioned things the sickle that used to cut down the wheat when you would harvest it. So there's a harvesting quality about this, and oppositions bring awareness, and the sun illuminates an area. And with the sun in Cancer, it is about the illumination of issues of nurturance. Now we are at a point as we look around on the planet where there are places that are in utter chaos because of war. There are places in utter chaos because of policies of the people in charge, right? The Cancer-Capricorn axis is a parental axis. Capricorn generally associated with the more authoritarian parent, and Cancer associated with the more nurturing parent. And so there is this sort of push-pull between authoritarianism and what the people need, what they need. And so it's pretty obvious to myself and many of you that not just the United States, but the world is moving in the wrong direction. And that we need to wake up to the fact that we are in a climate, that the climate is in crisis. And the climate and the atmosphere on the planet reflects the emotions of those of us who live on the planet. We are not disconnected from the planet. We are actually part of the planet. We happen to have an awareness beyond the planet that, we assume animals and plants don't have, but we don't know for sure because most of us don't speak their language. So this is our reality we're seeing, and it is affecting the realities of plants and animals and insects and the like. This is a very powerful full moon for the United States because it is, Pluto is at the degree of the United States. Pluto, when it was founded in 1776, we're in the midst of our Pluto return. We just got an eyeful of information about our last commander-in-chief, which I would not think I would call him any of those things, but okay, that's what he was. And just the depth of depravity and criminality within the administration. But even more stunning than that, perhaps, that we're seeing here in the U.S., for many of us who had an inkling about Donald Trump from the very beginning, knows that this guy was a bad news and a bad idea. But it's interesting how so many people followed him and really sort of showed the true colors. What are their true priorities? power and money, and who knows? Who knows? But, we're seeing that, and we're seeing, and it also helps us to expose the shadow. We also have to take into consideration that in this full moon, just like we've had throughout, certainly since the spring, Saturn squaring the nodes of the moon, asking us to make a decision. In order to make a decision, in order to build what's necessary for society, we need to go back to the past, face our shadow, South Node in Scorpio, face the need to control others, that it's none of our business, and the like. So there's that. So we have this very powerful full moon. We have the Pluto return. We're getting closer to our 5th Chiron return in this country, which is going to happen, I think, exactly in 2023, 2024. I believe. I'll have to check that for you guys. But we have a Chiron in Aries, and that is the wound of individuality, or the wound of the right to be who you are and how you define yourself. It is in opposition to the United States Saturn, the rule of law. And so we can see this, you're not going to tell me what to do kind of energy. At the same time, Chiron in Aries is the wound around guns. And certainly that is something that's happening. There's a couple of things that are happening around this full moon that are worth mentioning. And I think I've mentioned them before, just as to sort of fill things in. What's happening in the culture. We have the January 6th Commission. We have Boris Johnson stepping down. We have what's going on in Sri Lanka, where the president and the prime minister tried to leave. I don't know if they actually got out, but the people took over the presidential palace. We also have a documentary coming out in theaters today called Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down. It's the story of how she was shot in the head and how she came back from that to become a proponent for gun safety and working against gun violence. Very, very stirring story, and inspiring in a way, but certainly we're at a point where we have to look at the problems we actually have, not the problems that the Republicans say we have, which are mostly just craziness. Why is it a problem if somebody wants to call themselves a he or a she or a them or an it? What's wrong with that? It's none of your business if that's what they want to be called. If you don't want to call them that, don't call them that. But there is, issues. And then, of course, we can't forget to bring up the idea of the loss of Roe versus Wade and our crazy Supreme Court that is likely to continue its rampage on our rights because we have these crazy religious zealots in there. So we're in a real pickle, guys. But that being said, every opportunity is an opportunity to reinvent yourself. It's true for individuals, and it's true for countries. So how do you want to, and I think most of us at this point know what we do want and what we don't want. It's important to visualize those things and then take the small steps to get there, because nothing happens overnight. Well, some things do, and some things might, because we do have Uranus coming up to the North Node. It's going to be exact in August 3rd, I believe. So, the excitement is not ending. This full moon isn't like, okay, the excitement's over. No, as we know, and we must know, it's going to continue. It's going to continue well into the fall and the winter. And we do still have one more Pluto return for the U.S. chart in December. So we will see what that happens with that. But to say we're living in interesting times would definitely be an understatement of massive proportions. All right, guys, not much stuff open yet because it's so early in the morning. But it is lovely and it's relatively quiet. And the birds are relatively noisy, which is always neat. All right, guys, have yourself a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe. You can check out my week ahead. I go into real detail about this full moon. If you haven't watched it yet, it is about an hour long, but there's a lot of stuff happening this week. It's not just the full moon. I talk about the Pluto return of the U.S., and I talk about the other aspects that in any other, time might be like, oh my God, look what's happening. But with everything happening together, I mean, it really does feel like this is a crescendo of a very long, painful opera. And we have to figure out what it is that, what do we want our world to look like? Start visualizing it and start taking action steps to get there. And they don't have to be big, just little. You do have some level of control or some level of influence, but your most powerful level of influence is within your own life in the present moment. So do your best, and I will see you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Be careful. It's still very dangerous out there, honestly. And not so that you walk around in fear, or not that it stops you from doing the important things in your life. Just says the blue jay. Listen to her. Just keep your eyes open and be aware of your environment and what's around you. It goes a long way. Don't be sitting there on your phone, not paying attention to what's going on around you, because it's not smart at this time. It's not really smart at any time, quite honestly, but it's definitely not smart now. Okay, guys, take care. Love ya. Namaste.